And if you want to talk about the Miami Mall incident, it's such a catchy thing that goes so viral. But I guess what I'm trying to figure out is like they have so many videos of the fights that were going on, which is the official reason why all those cops were there. But there's no videos of these 8 to 10 foot tall aliens. The only reason that we even think there were aliens is because people are making videos on social media saying, I was there and we saw these aliens, right? But we don't know who these people are. They're just random people making videos on the internet, right? On Twitter and whatnot. And
Yeah.
so it kind of started this rumor to where I just don't know that I believe it. I think I'm calling bullshit on this, right? But that's just because what's more likely, that a rumor started about aliens at the mall because there was a lot of cops there, or that there was 8 to 10 foot tall shadow beings lasering people from the shadow realm?
It is sketch though, bro. It is pretty sketch that that many cops showed up. I mean, if you think about it, that was a lot of cops.
It was a lot of
I
cops.
don't think mass shooting situations would have that many cops.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I
That's what's sketchy. That along with the people, I mean, there's a lot of clout chasers online.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a
right.
fact, right?
I
But
would consider
at
myself
the
one
end of
of
the
them.
day, I mean, I mean, yeah, but I mean, there's like real try hard
Yeah.
clout chasers out there, like people who are trying so hard, man. And you know, I look, man, I want to believe it too, and there are some pretty convincing testimonies. I feel like the reason why there's no video or documentation is because a lot of them they did say that, oh, why didn't anyone record? You know, there's if there was that many people. I mean, if you were to see something like that up close and personal, what would you do? Would you pull out the camera?
Um well, I guess I have seen something like that up close and personal, if you know about my Hat Man story or whatever,
Yeah.
which apparently is like a big trend now. Like a lot of people are seeing this, but at the time this happened to me, I was just in high school. This wasn't like a trend. This is something that I learned about years later after having experienced it myself and going, holy shit, there's something to this. I'm not crazy, right? But at the
Mm.
time, camera phones weren't really a thing. But what I could say about my experience with the shadow person is, if there was like, if the TV was on, the shadow wasn't there. But even if the room was completely dark, right? So it was like when I turn off the TV and all like electronics and whatnot are off in the room and the room is pitch black, then I could see the shadow. I guess that's kind of I guess I just kind of went on a tangent there, but to answer your question, I don't know. I guess I definitely see the argument of like if you're so scared of something that you've never seen or witnessed before that your last thought is to pull out the camera. I get it, right?
Yeah.
But there's not one video and there's so many people, but there's also video of actual fights and people running around, right? So no video
I know.
of that. And if that happened, there's got to be camera feeds in the mall, you know, there's got to be body cam feeds of any of these police officers. I mean, the footage would
Yeah.
exist if it existed. You know what I'm saying? What would it
Right.
take to
Right.
get access to the camera footage feed from the mall?
That's the thing. Like, where's the CCTV? Right? Where's the CCTV footage? And would that be confiscated by some government entity?
Would we even know?
Right. That's another
I
question.
mean,
Would we even?
we would know if like some men in black came in and, talked to some cashier or like girl working behind the counter somewhere. She might say something, right? Come out on TikTok.
Yeah.
But where's all these like 4chan hackers like getting the feed to that mall? I'm sure
That's a good point.
it's got to exist, right? I'm just thinking logically.
Yeah, it has to be out there, definitely somewhere, right? What happened at that specific time? And some of the accounts, if you're not familiar with the story, people have, you know, have reported that they were just shopping at the mall. I believe it was like on January 2nd, sometime around there. And out of nowhere, they see people running and screaming for their lives. And then they see these creatures emerging out of nowhere and then kind of disappearing and then reappearing, kind of like they're glitching in and out of reality. And to me, that sounds like if it were true, I mean, and I have no scientific knowledge of how anything works, period. When it comes down to, you know, realities, right? We don't even, I mean, our top scientists don't even know what, you know, if there even is multiple dimensions or if there's any kind of technology. But yeah, they were like appearing and then disappearing and then kind of glitching in and out. And apparently they looked helpless. Like the creatures, they were like really tall, 8 to 10 feet tall. They looked helpless, or kind of like not knowing what's going on. And they were like confused. And some people are theorizing, and these are just like, you know, people with creative imaginations as well. They're theorizing that they could have been lost, or like they were probably like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Like, why am I here right now in Miami? You know, or like, why am I here right now in this place with people running and shooting at me? Because apparently there was also guns fired or shots fired to the creatures. So, you know, there's really a lot out there that people are, I guess, you know, telling different stories. There's one guy who came out on TikTok. He told the story and then he retracted his story, you know, saying that, oh, I was just, you know, trolling you guys, whatever. But then again, who's to say that, you know, like, what if he just wanted to, he retracted his story to keep his mouth shut because someone told him to, you know, there's that back and forth. But there is another video of a of a guy talking to his dad, and his dad is a police officer, and he was asking him. He was a sheriff. He's actually a sheriff, where he's running for mayor of Miami or something like that, and he's a sheriff. And he asked him, like, he's like, Dad, what happened in Bayside? And he's like, yeah, I can't talk about it at all. Uh, and so, you know, that's another one of those videos that I found on TikTok or on
Is this a
Twitter.
video that's
No,
going
X.
around right now?
Yeah, it is, and I lost it, but it is going around on X. But yeah, there's a lot of content that's being shot. And then another crazy thing that people are bringing up now is the fact that if you reverse the coordinates of Bayside, Miami, and I've been there myself, it's actually a really nice place. Um, but if you reverse the coordinates of Bayside, you get Antarctica. And Antarctica is notorious for UFO conspiracies and you know, as I'm sure you know. And I don't think you've ever covered any Antarctica videos on your
Yeah, I have
channel,
one that's a
but
little bit about it. Like, are
yeah,
there Nazis in Antarctica with flying saucers? I think that's literally the name of the video.
yes, yeah. So I mean, you know, the history behind that, and so people are kind of like, I guess they're just finding ways to
So is
make sense of it.
Bayside
Uh,
Miami? Is that what you mean? Is that the same story? Okay.
yeah, Bayside
So you're
Marketplace.
saying
Yeah,
that someone
yeah,
who's caught, like someone's father or something, was a cop that was there and they said they couldn't talk about it? Is that what you're saying?
yep,
Okay.
yep. And let me see if I could find it. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so you can check it out. But yeah, so first off, this is the Antarctica situation, right? So as you can see here are the coordinates, and you're better with numbers than I am, Patrick. So the coordinates are this right here, and then for Antarctica, right here, they say if you reverse it, you get the same or
Mm.
something. Yeah. So people are saying, oh, like, what if these aliens just, or these creatures, whatever you want to call them, what if they accidentally hit device that teleports them to a location. They just did it in
Yeah.
reverse. They intended to go to Antarctica.
What I guess if I'm being the contrarian there, what significance does coordinates have to Miami and the mall incident? Like specifically, are those coordinates exactly at the mall? And then secondly, Antarctica is a pretty big target. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure a lot of coordinates might match up with a lot of places on Earth. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, the leading theory here is that the reverse coordinates of Miami Bayside Mall are this, and then give a location in the middle of Antarctica, blah blah blah. The aliens teleported to the wrong place, meaning that
Hmm.
they meant to teleport to Antarctica, which
Yeah.
is, I guess, their hub. But instead, they landed in
Yeah.
Miami.
And that's obviously like a tongue in cheek theory. I mean,
It is.
it's it's an interesting idea, I guess, you know.
It is. It is. And let's hear this woman's take on
Listen,
it.
they put the coordinates in backwards. They reversed them. Listen, y'all, listen. The
I'm
Miami incident,
listening.
right? Or at the mall. I was watching one of the victims, and he said that it seemed like a portal opened up, and all of a sudden these beings just came through. So it got me thinking, well, where did they come from? Well, they had to come through a portal. So just for shiggles, I went to Google Earth,
Just for
went to the
shiggles.
mall, got the coordinates,
Just for
flip flopped the
shiggles.
coordinates, put that in Google Earth, and just to see where it would take me, it took me to the center of Antarctica. Do y'all remember what I was talking about? How there's an alien civilization in Antarctica living under that ice? Do y'all remember that? Because if not, let me remind you, there's supposedly a alien race living in Antarctica. And if they were trying to go to this alien base in Antarctica, they swapped the coordinates and ended up at the fucking mall in Miami. I'm tripping. Go to Google, find the coordinates for the mall, reverse the coordinates, and it will take you to Antarctica. I shit you not. They put the
Yeah. I
I mean,
I love her
she
enthusiasm.
seems very scientifically like relevant, you know, like she should probably speak at Congress with that theory.
Well, let's test it out. Let's test it out. Let's go to Google real quick, or Google
So let me
Maps,
just ask you this though.
and
They're these aliens or whatever they might have been are smart enough to build a portal, but are dumb enough to, by random chance, type in the number backwards on accident, like exactly backwards. And that
yeah,
actually leads them to Miami instead of the middle of Antarctica, right? What a happy accident.
it is a little ridiculous for sure. It is a little ridiculous, but that's just one of the crazier ones that's making rounds on
Not just anywhere in
TikTok,
Miami,
and
the fucking mall.
literally with like hundreds of people shopping. We got to talk about the TMZ video, but I also wanted to talk about the recent testimony from one of the guys that was there at Bayside Mall. And to me, he sounds very believable. And I wanted to get your take on it, on, what you think, his explanation of his experience is. So let me go ahead and show you real quick. It's kind of blowing up right now. The video is blowing up big time.
Okay.
Misfits. I was there at the Bayside Mall with my family, um, and we all saw exactly what happened. Um, don't like pay attention to a lot of the videos that are out there. I feel like a lot of people are trying to use this for clout. But what happened? We all saw what happened, and it's pretty serious. It's been a few days, but and our whole family's processing it. But I think we've kind of like accepted that we were a part of this weird experience and moment. So basically, what happened was I was there with my brother Brian, and my sister and my nephew. We were looking for shoes for my nephew, and then we see a whole crowd of people outside the store, just running out in a direction. So as soon as we saw it, we were like, oh shit, what's going on? So we immediately ran out with our nephew, and we picked him up and we ran out and we followed the crowd. And then about like a few seconds later, as soon as we started running, my nephew, he's autistic, so he was pointing behind us and he was saying blanky, which he'll usually say whenever he feels unsafe or scared. And he was pointing behind us. So me and my brother, we looked behind us, and then we see these 3, 9, 10 foot tall creatures. I'm not gonna say aliens. Everyone keeps saying it's aliens. I'm not saying aliens because I don't know what it was. None of us really knew. Everyone, all of us stopped in our track. We, a whole bunch of people were pointing at it. There were other people running. There was a crowd. As soon as it made itself more apparent, it looked like it was glitching, not like a computer pixelation, but like a wavy glitch. And whatever maybe was covering them had, unveiled or whatever. Yeah, it looked like a glitch, man. It like a weird glitch in the Matrix or whatever. And then you could see it in its full form, all 3 of them. And then, they were all black. You saw eyes, and you could faintly see like lips. But, yeah, I was about like 20 feet away, because obviously everybody gave it distance, right? And, they're tall. So we all just like looked at them. They were just standing there. And the thing that was a little bit weird, well, it was clearly like observing us. It was sentient, right? Like, or whatever. I don't know, but it was aware of us. It looked at us, the whole crowd, and then as soon as it started walking with its big legs, like kind of like it started like almost glitching again, we all ran. My brother like immediately said, "Yo, let's go." He grabbed me by the shoulder. We bolted out of there. And for anyone that's like saying, where's the footage? Where's the footage? Yeah, I know. I don't have any footage, and I'll explain why. Because like when I saw it, I was in complete fear. It was something that I completely froze, man. I don't care if I sound like a bitch about it. Like I froze, and I don't care who you are. I feel like when you're seeing something paranormal, it's different than when you're seeing a fight. Yeah, you'll probably want to record that and put it on World Star or whatever. When you see something paranormal, that's different because your reality, you can't comprehend what you're seeing. A fight, you kind of get it. 2 people are fighting. You can comprehend that. Something like this, none of us could comprehend. Your first instinct is like, it ain't to like take out your phone and start recording. Your first instinct is like, I've never seen this before. What is this? Is it gonna hurt me or my family? That was my first number one priority. So if you don't believe me, I get it. It's fine. Like, it is silly. I'm sure that someone had footage from that night. If you did, please contact me just so that we actually have it. So anyways, as soon as the creature started moving, we all just jetted out there. We ran out the front doors. And obviously, like, we see a whole sea of cop cars, mad cop cars, where other ones were coming in. And we ran with our nephew, and then a cop stopped us. They took us a little to a bit of a safer area behind the cars. And then and they asked us what we saw, and we told them what we saw. They wrote it down, and they asked everybody to check their phones. Not everybody, because there was mad people like running away too, right? They couldn't get everyone. So I'm wondering if someone's gonna post a video. But yeah, they looked through everyone's phone. I didn't record anything, so I was fine. None of us recorded anything, so we were basically free to go. But in the distance, you could still see, like, I didn't see the beings come out the door, right? But you could see on the side of the building, kind of like that clip that everyone's seeing, that it was slowly walking, and it was like, it wasn't cloaking or glitching or whatever. It was walking. So I don't know if it seemed more like it was an interdimensional thing. Someone's coming into our dimension or whatever, a bunch of them, and I think that it was just interesting the police response because there was a whole bunch of them. This ain't for no teenagers. No, this was for something way bigger. And it almost seemed like the cops had like a already made strategy for it because they surrounded one of the beings with like all their police cars. They blared it up even louder because you could hear that it was louder. Um, Maybe as an attempt to like distract it or let it know like, hey, you don't belong here, right? And they were trying to like slowly move alongside with it. But I didn't see anything else after that because me and my family we got out of there. We went into our car. We went home because we had our nephew with us and we went to make sure like he was okay. So I'm still kind of like processing everything. Like it's weird.
So what do you think?
What are your thoughts?
So that's the second time I've seen that video. I haven't seen the full video. That looked like the full video. So like the first half of it, like yesterday or something. My first thought when I first saw his face moving was his face looks fake. His face looks AI. That's what I thought when I first saw that. And that was yesterday. I was watching it on like Instagram. So at first I was watching without the volume until I like clicked the volume on. I was like, this guy's face looks fake. And for me, I was like, I listened to what he was saying, it was about the same as what other people who have made similar style videos are. Like I've probably seen 4 of these things now where it's like they're recording on their phone, they're sitting in front of some random wall somewhere, and they're just talking about, yeah, I saw these aliens at the thing. But I guess it's hard. I mean, other than trying to read if they're acting or if they're lying or whatever, I have nothing else to base off of. Is this person legit? Were they actually there? Show me a photo of you actually there on that night. Show me something that you got, or else I have to take your word at face value. Secondly, I mean, if I'm just basing it off of trying to read him and it is a real person and he was actually there, I mean, he seems like he's being legit. I would be very curious to feel his energy, being in the same room as this guy, asking him questions about it. Because it seems like he's genuinely telling an experience that he had, as far-fetched as the experience might sound, right? And I could also believe if there were that many police there and if this was actually happening, I could definitely see the police, we don't know what the government does or doesn't know. So maybe they do have protocol for how to handle interdimensional beings at the Miami Mall, right? But at the same time, how many Miami police officers are there? And how many Miami police officers were there that night? And do all of them know that strategy just in case interdimensional beings arrive at the Bayside Mall? And if so, how does that get kept secret from everyone else? Secrets are so tempting for a lot of people to tell. Like there's actually marketing tactics revolved around making things sound secret. That way people talk about them with their friends. You know what I'm saying? Because it's reverse psychology. So the fact that, and that's always been the argument against government UFO disclosure, is like, oh, not one person would tell somebody. But that's the thing, is there are whistleblowers, right? And at the same time with this, I would imagine that, I mean, there's the requirements to become a police officer are not like the requirements to become a doctor. It's far easier that
Right.
some random,
You don't need right. You don't need like a security clearance to be a cop, right?
You just need to pass, a psychological test and then like go to fucking police school or whatever, right? But
yeah, and you would assume if there was a protocol to handle interdimensional situations,
more people would talk about it.
I mean, you would need right. Well, yeah, and you would need first you would need an NDA, but
yeah, I don't know. It just seems a lot far-fetched.
But I do feel, yeah, I do feel him though on like, you know, my first, if I was out by myself, I'd pull out my phone and like immediately
Yeah.
record if I saw that shit. But if I was like with my daughter or like with my wife and my baby, I'd I'd dip, you know. They're their first, they're my first, you know, priority, which in this case he mentioned that he was, you know, his brother was his
Mm.
first priority. He also mentioned that they were the police were taking their people's phones and scanning them. That's what he said, right?
Yeah, he did mention
Like
that.
for
Yeah.
pictures. Yeah, which, you know, could also be made up, but
I'd be
yeah,
curious for someone to look into that guy's actual background. Does he even live in Miami? And at the same time, like
right.
it always kind of comes back to like the probability of one option versus the other, right? What's more likely that people see a trend to get views on TikTok and Instagram by making a video claiming they were at the mall and then just making these videos fueling the flames, or that there were 8 to 10 foot tall shadow beings at the mall? Like what's more likely? You know what I'm saying?